question for you. What does this look like to you? It's a USB flash drive, right? That's what most people think when they see something like this, and honestly, they're usually right. But that is what makes this thing one of the most dangerous devices in hacking, because this is not a USB flash drive. This is what's called a BadUSB. It's designed by hackers to hack the computer it's plugged into. This thing's crazy, man. It's incredibly dangerous. It's shockingly effective. Like, you wanna see it real quick? Watch this. Got my crap top here. I'm gonna hack my crap top. This is crazy. Watch this. I'm just gonna plug the USB in, and then hands off. I'm not doing anything. Watch. Look. What's that? Oh, it's disabling Windows Defender. Okay. Boom. Okay, disabled Windows Defender. That's crazy. Again, no hands. Look, Ma, no hands. So, switch my other screen here. I got a reverse shell into this computer, all from just plugging in a USB. How crazy is that? Now, this is more of a prank than a hack, but it's pretty bad. Watch this. This is crazy. And what's bad is you can't change the volume. You can't lower it, can't mute it, and there's nothing open to like stop playing it. Unplug it, it's still going. So you can do a seriously mean Rickroll to someone at the office. That's pretty awesome. Now, if you saw that and didn't want to try it, you're crazy. Leave the video now. But if you do want to try it, good. I'm gonna show you how to do this right now. And shout out to Dashlane for sponsoring this video. They are what I use in my business to organize my passwords, keep things safe and secure. We'll talk more about them here later. Now, to do this, you will need a BadUSB. The one I'm using is the USB Rubber Ducky from Hack5. This is what I recommend, but they do run about $45, which is kind of pricey. So you know what? You can use, I almost dropped it, it's so small. You can use this. This super tiny computing device is the Raspberry Pi Pico. This sucker will run you about $5, which is awesome, and I'll show you how to set this up to be a BadUSB. So if you want to get one of these, check the link below, it's only $5. And then of course, for anything hacking or IT, you're gonna need some coffee. So get you some NetworkChuck.coffee. Oh yeah, almost forgot. I'm gonna give away 2 of these USB rubber duckies. Link below for that contest. Now, before I show you how to use this insanely dangerous device, and it's super easy by the way, I wanna talk about how it actually works. Why is it so effective and why is it so dangerous? And also later in this video, I do wanna show you how to defend against this. Most computers have a USB port, which means most computers are not immune to this attack. So I'll show you a few ways to defend you, your family, and your company from attacks like this. Now, how this BadUSB works is actually crazy simple. All it does is pretend to be a keyboard. That's it, that's all it does. Now, typically when you plug in a USB flash drive like this into a computer, the computer's like, oh, that's a mass storage device. That's where you store pictures and files and stuff. But not the BadUSB. The BadUSB, when you plug it in, it's recognized as an HID device, which stands for Human Interface Device. So when I plug in a normal flash drive like this, it's recognized as a USB mass storage device. And it shows up in your Finder so you can do stuff, throw stuff on it. But when I plug in my USB rubber ducky here, my BadUSB, that's gonna be a human interface device. There it is right there. I'm not gonna let it finish. An HID device is stuff like this, your keyboard, your mouse, things that a human will use to interact with a computer. And inherently, by default, the computer will trust a human. It's going to trust when you plug in a USB keyboard, a USB mouse. Can you see why that's insanely dangerous? Because the computer thinks that this is a human, and by default will trust it, which is crazy. Now, even crazier, check this out. The other reason why this is scary effective is because it can type a lot faster than a human. For example, I can type about 50 to 75 words per minute on a good day, I think. I haven't tested it in a while. This sucker can do 1,000 words per minute, which means that when you plug the sucker in, it does its dirty work before you even realize what's happening because it's typing so fast. Like, think about that. If you left your computer open, right, and you walked away, a hacker could come in, sit down, and start typing away. But that would be significantly slower than just someone plugging this into your computer. Bam, that's an extremely fast typing hacker and you're done. Now also why this is dangerous is that it doesn't have to be a hacker plugging this in, right? All you have to do is leave a USB flash drive laying around in the parking lot or on someone's desk. And you know, people are curious. They're gonna go, huh, a USB flash drive. I wonder what's on here. Let's find out. Let's plug the sucker in. And it's too late. Like once it's plugged in, you're done. It does it so quickly, bye. And most of the time you don't notice unless you're pranking them with a Rickroll, which they're freaking gonna notice and they can't stop it. Yeah, unless they're an IT person, they will not know how to stop that. Okay, enough theory. Let's start playing with our BadUSBs. Now I am gonna cover how to do the USB rubber ducky, but first I wanna show you how to set up the Raspberry Pi Pico as a BadUSB. It's super simple, don't worry. And by the way, this thing, again, is freaking amazing. It can do so much more than what we're about to do with it, but this is such a cool use case, seriously. Okay, anyways, here we go. I've got links below in the description. We're gonna navigate to this GitHub page right here. It's a project by Debisu, which they're awesome. They did this amazing project called Pico Ducky to turn this into a USB rubber ducky. In fact, it will work the exact same way using the exact same scripting. We'll show you how to do that here in a moment. But here's all we have to do. But right here where it says download CircuitPython for the Pico board. So go ahead and click on this link. I'll do that right now. And then click on download.uf2 right there. Download. With CircuitPython downloaded, now we're gonna plug in our Raspberry Pi Pico with a USB cable. Just plug that guy in. Boop, boop, boop. He'll come up. It'll say like RPI-RPI2. He'll show up as a mass storage device right here. We'll jump in there. And then we'll take that CircuitPython file and just drag him over there. Boom. It's going to actually copy over and then disconnect the Raspberry Pi Pico, and it'll reconnect as CircuitPython. Really simple. Bam, he's now CircuitPython. So cool. So now when you go back to your Finder, you'll see CircuitPython right here. Now for step 2. Let's get back to our GitHub page. In order for our Raspberry Pi Pico to pretend to be a keyboard or a mouse, an HID device, we gotta download the HID library for him. Very simple. Here on the GitHub page, we got this link right here. Go ahead and click on that, and we'll scroll down to where we see Adafruit CircuitPython Bundle 6X right here. Go ahead and download that. It's fairly small, so once you have that downloaded, we're gonna open that sucker up. And we don't have much waiting here. Everything's so quick, so I want to take a coffee break right now. You can do it with me if you want. Boom, ready to go. More hacking fuel. Let's go ahead and unzip, extract that folder. This will take a while. Hey, coffee break. I'm okay for another coffee break. Here we go. By the way, if you love Raspberry Pis like I do, check out this mug. You can pick this sucker up at NetworkChuck.com as well as this shirt. Anyways, it's still going. Come on, man. It is done. All right, so I'm gonna jump into that extracted folder, and then I'm gonna jump into the lib directory right there. Go ahead and jump in there. A lot of stuff going on here. We're gonna take one folder from this directory, right here. It'll say Adafruit HID, HID, to make it a keyboard, make it a hacking device. So I'm gonna select that folder, copy it, go to my Finder and jump into my CircuitPython, jump into his lib folder, and paste it right there. So now he has the HID library. Now real quick, how this Raspberry Pi Pico works with CircuitPython is when it's first plugged in, it'll actually run this Python code right here, code.py. So whatever you've coded there, it's gonna run that script. Now the script we want to run is a special USB rubber ducky script from our good old buddy Debisu here. So I'm gonna scroll up a bit here, and there's the script ducky and python.py. Go ahead and click on that, and here's the script. It's very, very impressive. It basically converts Ducky Script to be able to be used in Python. We'll explain Ducky Script when we talk about this here in a moment. But anyways, we can just go back once more, and at the top here where it says code, click on that and say download zip. We're gonna download everything he's got here. Go ahead and open that zip file, extract it, extract all. Open that bad boy. And inside there, we'll have our ducky and python.py. All we're gonna do here is copy that Python script and paste it to our CircuitPython, just the root directory right here. Paste. Now one crucial step here. What we're gonna do is delete that code.py and then rename our ducky and python.py to code.py. Bam. Now at this point, the Raspberry Pi Pico is a BadUSB. All we have to do now is upload our custom Ducky scripts to make it do some bad stuff, like, I don't know, rickrolling someone, or doing a reverse shell, or even stealing passwords like we saw on Mr. Robot. Yeah, the rubber ducky was actually featured on an episode of Mr. Robot, which makes it even cooler, right? Now, did I mention that this USB rubber ducky is really good at stealing passwords? Yeah, it stinking is. Which brings me to the sponsor of this video, Dashlane, a fantastic password manager that I actually use for my business. I require all my employees and myself to use Dashlane to manage our passwords. Why? Well, because we can create a different password for every account and easily manage it in one interface. It also makes sure that we change our password on a regular basis, and it will scan the dark web to make sure that our passwords aren't on some marketplace where they're being sold, which does happen, guys. Happens all the stinking time. I also love how Dashlane handles two-factor authentication, which again, another security thing you absolutely want to have. Everything you can get two-factor authentication on, get it. And Dashlane's a fantastic way to do that. I can easily link my two-factor authentication codes right to my passwords from my websites and whatever else I want to log into. Super safe and secure and awesome, and I use it on every device from my Windows PC to my Mac, to my phone, to my browser, just to everything. So nowadays, this is a bare minimum to protect yourself. You've got to use something like a password manager, and Dashlane's the one I recommend. I also use Dashlane to help me buy stuff. I store my credit cards safely and securely inside Dashlane, and when I go to check out at different sites, bam, the information's right there. Just click it and go. Two-step checkout. I can't tell you how much I actually use that feature. So if you find this as helpful as I do, you can try out Dashlane for free on your first device over at dashlane.com/NetworkChuck. And if you do want to upgrade to premium, you can use my code NetworkChuck and get 50% off. So yeah, give it a try. So at this point in our tutorial, we can kind of start working on these at the same time because this guy, the USB rubber ducky, he already has all this code built in. He's already set. So right now they're on the same level. Now what I'm gonna walk you through real quick is how to set up the Rickroll BadUSB attack, which is super fun. You gotta do it to somebody. So here we go. There's a handy place out on the internet that has a ton of rubber ducky scripts. It's out here on GitHub, and look at this. This is amazing. Just a ton of scripts you can try out. And let me find a simple one to talk about how it works. Like this one, how to disable Windows Defender. It's crazy simple what it does. Darren Kitchen from Hack5 is the one who designed Ducky Script, and all it is commands that help you simulate a keyboard. So for example, we've got delay, that'll just delay, wait. Then we have the control key, escape. We can enter string, so it'll say string and actually type in this word, like you're typing in on the keyboard or this sentence. The enter key, you can tab. So as we saw from our example earlier, that's all that was happening is we had a script that was just simulating keystrokes, movements through the GUI. We knew how to get there, we just had to program it in this Ducky script. How cool is that? And that's where it becomes really fun because really you can do anything. It's up to your imagination. It can also get pretty dang complicated, like the Rickroll thing. That's actually pretty complex. If I go back to that real quick, actually, or if I go to, I haven't shown it to you yet. Here it is, Rickroll. This thing's doing a lot. It's actually setting up a VBS script and running hidden so you can't find it. So now how do we do this? So let's talk about the USB rubber ducky first. So this guy, I'm gonna undo him real quick, take off his armor, his disguise, and here inside of it, we have a micro SD card. Just take that sucker out. This is where we're gonna store our script, our Ducky script. And the rubber ducky will come with a handy micro SD card reader, USB, and just plug that sucker into your computer. And it should come up as a mass storage device. Go ahead and open that sucker, and there'll be one file in there. Similar to the Raspberry Pi Pico, when you plug this sucker in, it's gonna launch this inject.bin file, which is the rubber ducky script we're gonna load up there. But first we have to prep the script. I've got a link below to a GUI tool that you can use to encode. It's just gonna be a HTML file. I'll open that right here. And all you'll do is paste in the script in this script editor. So for example, our Rickroll right here. We're gonna copy all that code, all that script, paste it right here. And then to get it ready to put it on the USB rubber ducky, we're gonna click on generate payload right here. So generate payload, it gives you a woot woot, and then we'll scroll down and download the payload. Click on download. You'll see that it does download as inject.bin, and all we'll simply do is copy that, go to a USB rubber ducky, and paste that in there saying, yeah, we want to replace that file. That's simple. So keep in mind, with the USB rubber ducky, you do have to encode it using this really simple ducky encoder. So put your script in here, generate the payload, and you're solid. And you just take the flash drive out, slide that micro SD card back into your naked duck here. That's weird, naked duck. And it's all set. All you gotta do is plug it in now. That's simple. For the Raspberry Pi Pico, you actually don't have to encode anything, which is kind of cool. For the Pico, all we're gonna do is copy the script, open up Notepad or something, any kind of text editor, paste all that junk in there, and we're gonna do a file, save as, change it to all files, and I'll name it payload.dd. And then just like the USB rubber ducky, we'll take that payload.dd, copy that, go to our CircuitPython drive here, and then just paste it here. Now be careful, because this will run the second you put it on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Just gonna paste that sucker on there, and then I'm gonna unplug it so it doesn't have a chance to run. So when you plug this Raspberry Pi Pico in, it's gonna execute that Python script and immediately launch your Ducky script and start working. Let's try it out. So here we go. I'm gonna take my USB cord here. And by the way, this is another downside of the Raspberry Pi Pico. It's not as covert or flash drivey as the USB rubber ducky. Now, sure, you could custom print something and do some soldering to make it look better, but you can still have the same look and feel. Just have a cord, no big deal. So as I plug the sucker in, this should do the Rickroll. The other downside is it does show up as a mass storage device as well as an HID device. But notice it's doing the same thing. Super freaking cool. And it's only $5. I mean, this is such amazing. I love Raspberry Pi stuff, man. Yes! Now yet another downside to going with the Pico instead of going with the USB rubber ducky. It's kind of hard to edit your script when you already have one on there. Because like I said, when you plug this sucker into your computer, even just to edit the script, it's still going to launch that Python script and start to do whatever attack you have. And you may not want to attack yourself. But there is a workaround. It's not as simple, but it still works. What this basically involves is factory resetting your Raspberry Pi Pico and reloading everything again like we already did in our steps. All we're gonna do is, on the Raspberry Pi Pico is a button that says boot cell or boot select. You're gonna hold that down as you plug in your USB. When you do that, it'll load up like it did when we first plugged it in. It says RPI, RPI2. Here we can actually obliterate it with a script called nuke. That's not a script, it's firmware. I'll have that in the link below. This calls flash_nuke. I'm just gonna copy that, paste that on the RPI2, and once you paste that on there, it'll do the same thing as CircuitPython. It's just gonna erase everything and bring it back up. And now it has nothing on it. So if I were to unplug it, plug it back in, it no longer has CircuitPython on it. You'll have to go through the steps of setting up again, which isn't that bad. Like it took like 3 seconds, right? Maybe 5. So yeah, 2 very dangerous and extremely effective devices, a USB rubber ducky and a Raspberry Pi Pico. You can look at the scripts here and do some pretty insane stuff. And it's not just Windows, man. OS X, you can do stuff on Linux. Really, again, it's an HID device, so you can mimic keyboard input, mouse input, and you can do whatever you stinking want. Really, if you can do it on a keyboard, you can do it with this. Now, time for the big question. How do you protect yourself against a device like this? Because what hackers will do with these bad USBs is they will leave them in parking lots, leave them just around, hoping that someone will pick it up and plug it into their computer, which people do. I mean, again, people are just curious. So the best thing you can do is to encourage your people, hey, don't plug in USB flash drives that you don't know what they are. If you found one, don't plug that sucker in. Don't plug in random USB crap into your computer because it could hack you in seconds. And sure, it might be a harmless Rickroll, or it could be, I don't know, stealing and exfiltrating all of your data on your computer. That can happen. It could download malware. It can do anything, literally anything, because it's pretending to be you, and it's faster and smarter than you, so you're screwed. So just don't plug crap into your computer. Also, hey, when you leave your computer, lock that sucker. Never leave your computer just open, because first of all, you'll leave yourself open to pranks from your coworkers. But also, if your computer's open, then this is where a USB rubber ducky shines. Because again, it can just mimic all of your actions on that computer. But if your computer is locked and requires a password to log in, most likely this guy doesn't know your password. So when it plugs in, it's gonna be, I'm screwed, I can't log in. So right there, it's defeated. So don't plug crap into your computer, and always lock your computer when you walk away. Always. Windows key L. Just do it. Now, those methods I just mentioned require the user to be educated and to protect themselves all the time, which we know human error is going to be a factor in that all the time. So another way you can protect your company, yourself, and your friends and your family from something like this is to enable password authentication for administrative access. What does that mean? Well, it means, and you saw in the script, and I'll go ahead and play the video right here, but most of the time when it's trying to run something, it has to run it as an administrator, which requires a pop-up saying, hey, do you want to run this as an administrator? And you have to say yes. Now by default, it's just a simple click yes for most people. What you can do is change that to where it requires a password whenever you do that. If you're a system admin for a company, this will be best done through group policy, making registry changes across all your devices. I've got that on my daughter's computer right now. But you can also edit your registry on your computer. Now be very careful. Editing the registry is a dangerous thing. You never want to do that without knowing what you're doing. Now doing this, you're gonna kind of know what you're doing because I'm walking you through it. To access registry, we'll type in Windows key S, which again, the hacker could do with USB. Anyways, you'll type in reg edit. It's gonna open up your registry editor. From here, we're gonna go to HKey local machine, software, Microsoft, and if you're wondering what the chunk this is where a lot of your settings are held and configured and made in the registry. You're kind of looking at the behind the scenes, behind the curtain of how your Windows computer works. Then you go to Windows, and I'll have this in the link below, and I'll throw it up on the screen right now. Then current version, policies, I know it's a lot. And then finally, system. And here's a bunch of registry entries. What we want to change right here is the consent prompt behavior admin. Go ahead and open that. Right now the data value is 5. You want to change that to 1, which will enable that prompt and require you to put a password in instead of just having a yes or no toggle. And then you'll click OK to save that. I'm not gonna save mine, I don't care about that right now. Again, as an admin, you can make that change across the board through group policy in your company, and you should do stuff like that. Also, not giving your users administrative access on their own machines is another way you can prevent this, because a lot of the attacks this USB rubber ducky does requires administrative access on the computer. If the user doesn't have administrative access, then this guy is rendered useless. So using a lot of best practices like the principle of least privilege is essential. Now there are some other fun ways, like you can actually do a physical protection against USB devices. You can actually use this little device that'll lock USB ports. You could also go as far as disabling USB ports altogether through some policies. You can use software that does this, but that does make your computer very, very inconvenient to use because we often use our USB ports for everything from plugging in keyboards, mice, and USB flash drives. Again, a huge reason why this is so insanely effective because we use this for things all the time, every day. Whew, crazy how this can just mess you up. So yeah, bad USBs are pretty stinking bad, but they're also incredibly fun, so I encourage you to get one and play with it. So yeah, USB Rubber Ducky, again, I'm giving away 2, so if you want to snag one of these, contest link below in the description, or just get one, 45 bucks, or get a Raspberry Pi Pico, $5. Not as cool as this, but it does do the job. And for $5, why not? You can also do other stuff with these things. So again, link below if you want to pick one of these up. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments below. Let me know if you have done some cool stuff with USB Rubber Duckies. And don't forget to hack that YouTube algorithm, like, comment, notification bell, subscribe. Is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. Whew, yeah, that's about it. I'll catch you guys next time.